This is Boz Scaggs, American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. Now, if you're looking for a vocalist with a unique delivery and voice, also a Grammy winner, and an artist that can fuse pop with soul with rock, you came to the right place. This video will examine the life and music of Boz Scaggs. Welcome back to my channel. Boz Scaggs, born June 8, 1944, is an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. Scaggs was born in Canton, Ohio, the eldest child of Royce and Helen Scaggs. His father was a traveling salesman who had flown in the Army Air Corps during World War II. Their family moved from McAlester, Oklahoma, then to Plano, Texas. At that time, it was just a small farm town just north of Dallas. He learned his first instrument, the cello, at age 9. He received a scholarship to attend a private school in Dallas, St. Mark's School of Texas. At St. Mark's, he met Steve Miller, who helped him to learn the guitar at age 12. A classmate wanted to give Scaggs a weird nickname. This started out as Bosley, then Boswell, and Bosworth. The name was later shortened to Boz. In 1959, he became a vocalist for Steve Miller Band, the Marksmen. After graduation in 1962, the pair later attended the University of Wisconsin in Madison together, playing in blues bands like the Ardells and the Fabulous Night Trains. Scaggs left school in 1963 to pursue a career in music. He signed on with the Army Reserve and formed a new band, the Whigs, with John Toad Anderson and Bob Arthur. By 1965, the band joined the burgeoning R&B scene in London. Achieving little success, the band disbanded after a few months. Scaggs traveled through Europe, earning money by busking. He arrived in Stockholm, Sweden, where he recorded his first solo album, Boz, in 1965, which failed commercially. He had a brief stint with the band The Other Side with Mac McLeod and Jack Downing. Returning to the U.S., Scaggs promptly headed for the booming psychedelic music center of San Francisco in 1967 after receiving a postcard invitation from Steve Miller to join his band. He appeared on the Steve Miller's band's first two albums, Children of the Future and Sailor, in 1968. He left the band due to different musical tastes and tension between himself and Miller at the time. Scaggs secured a solo contract with Atlantic Records in 1968, releasing his second album, Boz Scaggs, a year later. It was produced by Jan Wenner, co-founder of the magazine Rolling Stone, and featured the Muscle Shoals rhythm section and session guitarist Duane Allman. Despite good reviews, this release achieved only moderate sales. Scaggs briefly hooked up with San Francisco Bay Area band Mother Earth in a supporting role on their second album, Make a Joyful Noise, on guitar and backup vocals. Scaggs signed with Columbia Records, releasing the album Moments in 1971 and My Time in 1972. These first Columbia albums were modest sellers. Seeking a new, more soulful direction, Columbia brought in Motown producer Johnny Bristol for Scaggs' next album, Slow Dancer, in 1974. Although the album only made number 81 on the US Billboard album chart, it subsequently attained gold status, no doubt getting a boost from the huge success of Scaggs' next album, Silk Degrees. In 1976, using session musicians who later formed the band Toto, he recorded Silk Degrees with Joe Wishart on producing duties. The album, which received a Grammy nomination for Album of the Year and a further nomination for Wishart as Producer of the Year, reached number 2 on the US Billboard 200 and number 1 in a number of other countries, spawning 4 hit singles: It's Over, Lowdown, What Can I Say, and Lido Shuffle, as well as the poignant ballad We're All Alone, which Rita Coolidge, who had performed background vocals on an early Scaggs album, took to the top of the charts in 1977. Lowdown sold over 1 million copies in the US and won the Grammy Award for Best R&B Song, which was shared by Scaggs and David Paich. In Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta choreographed his dance to Lowdown. In an interview, Travolta stated, "The Bee Gees weren't even involved in the movie at the beginning. I was dancing to Stevie Wonder and Boz Scaggs." However, Columbia denied the song's use as there was another disco movie using Lowdown. That movie was called Looking for Mr. Goodbar. A sellout world tour followed. Scaggs was performing at Avery Fisher Hall, now the David Geffen Hall, in New York's Lincoln Center during the infamous July 13th New York City blackout in 1977. He was around 15 minutes into the concert when the power went out. Scaggs told the audience to save their ticket stubs as he would do a repeat concert on the Friday night a few days later. Scaggs performed with Fleetwood Mac for a few concerts between 1976 and 1977. His follow-up album, Down 2 Then Left, did not sell as well as Silk Degrees, and neither of its singles reached the top 40. For Down 2 Then Left, Scaggs continued working with Toto and additionally Ray Parker Jr., who later created Ghostbusters' theme song in 1984. The 1980 album, Middleman, spawned two top 20 hits, Breakdown Dead Ahead, number 15 on the Hot 100, and JoJo, number 17 on the Hot 100. And Scaggs also enjoyed two more top 20 hits in 1980 and 1981. Look What You've Done to Me from the Urban Cowboy soundtrack and Miss Sun from the Greatest Hits set, both reaching number 14 on the Hot 100. Miss Sun also was an unreleased Toto demo from 1977. Scaggs took a long break from recording as he felt making music became a career and that music had left him. He did attempt to make a new album in 1983, but it didn't feel right. In 1985, he succumbed to feelings of anxiety and felt like he had to get a record out as there was something very big missing from his life. Scaggs' next album, Other Roads, did not appear until 1988 due to Columbia rejecting an album as they didn't feel like they had a strong hit single, making Scaggs spend more time perfecting the album. Heart of Mine from Other Roads is Scaggs' last top 40 hit as of 2018. Also in 1988, he opened the San Francisco nightclub Slim's and remained an owner of the venue until the club's closure in 2020. In 1992, Scaggs performed at Toto's tribute concert for Jeff Porcaro along with Don Henley, Donald Fagen, Eddie Van Halen, George Harrison, and Michael McDonald. His next solo release was the album Some Change in 1994. He issued Come On Home, an album of rhythm and blues, and My Time, a Boz Scaggs, an anthology in 1997. In the summer of 1998, Boz toured as the opening act for Stevie Nicks. After another hiatus from recording, his next album, Dig, received good reviews. However, the CD was released on an unfortunate date, September 11, 2001. In May 2003, Scaggs released But Beautiful, a collection of jazz standards that debuted at number 1 on the jazz chart. In 2008, he released Speak Low, which he described in the liner notes as a sort of progressive experimental effort along the lines of some of the ideas that Gil Evans explored. During 2004, he released a DVD and a live 16-track CD, Greatest Hits Live, that was recorded August 2003 at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco. Dig was re-released in 2006 with the exception of the song Get on the Natch. After a break in recording, he undertook a series of shows across the US in 2008. 2 years later, he joined Donald Fagen and Michael McDonald for concerts entitled The Dukes of September Rhythm Review. His next album, Memphis, was released in March 2013. It was recorded in that southern American city at the Royal Studios. The album included some of his favorite compositions from other artists. A tour of the United States, Canada, and Japan followed the release. Before the year ended, he added live dates across North America and Australia for 2014. In 2015, he released A Fool to Care, a compilation of mostly covers, including Whispering Pines with Lucinda Williams, and one original blues composition, Hell to Pay, performed with Bonnie Raitt. The album rose to number 1 on the Billboard Blues Album Chart and number 54 on the Billboard 200. In 2018, he released Out of the Blues, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Top Blues Albums chart. In February 2024, he made his first post-pandemic visit to Japan, touring for 7 shows in 5 locations throughout the country. From the stage for his Tokyo show, he announced that he would donate the guitars he used for his Japan tour to a charity auction to support the recovery from the 2024 Noto Peninsula earthquake, which had struck on New Year's Day that year. I hope you enjoyed this video on one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Boz Scaggs. Now, if you've got a band or artist you'd like featured on this YouTube channel, pop it in the comment section. I'll make another video. Thanks for dropping by. Rock on.